if you really want to know your mind, that the body will always give you the truthful reflection. Oh, the body, truthful reflection. So look at emotion, look at emotion, or rather feel it in your body. Oh, okay. Emotion and body. Sometimes I say like, I should stop here because like, no, I can't do it. But later I found out that my body reaction was didn't feel tired. So I got some symptoms from it. So actually, his side, the body will always give you a truthful reflection. So I would just try to feel my body as well. Yeah, that's very important. So look at the emotion or already feel it in your body. If there is an apparent conflict between them, the thought will be the lie. Oh, the emotion will be the truth. Not the ultimate truth of who you are, but relative truth of your state of mind at the time. Okay, see, conflict between surface thoughts and unconscious mental process is suddenly common. You may not yet be able to bring your unconscious mind activity into awareness as a thought, but it will always reflect in the body as an emotion. Oh, okay. And of this you can become aware. Okay. The only difference is that while a thought is in your head, an emotion has a strong physical component, and so is primarily felt in the body. Oh, that's true. Thought is just in my head, but emotion is a strongly physical component or physical reflection. You no longer are emotion. You're the watcher, the observing presence. If you practice this, a that is unconscious in you will be brought into the light of consciousness. Okay? So, observing our mind is as important as observing our thoughts. Yes, make it a habit to ask yourself. Oh, okay, habit to ask yourself. Okay, what's going on inside me at this moment? This question will point you in the right direction, but don't analyze, just watch. Focus your attention with it. Feel the energy of the emotion. If there is no emotion present, take your attention more deeply into the inner energy field of your body. It is the doorway into being. If you are pulled into unconscious identifications with the emotion, through lack of presence, which is normal, the emotion temporarily becomes yes. Okay. Oh, that's true. Okay, okay. You know what? Actually, I read this book like 2 years ago. So I try to read again, and then I feel like I feel so much different from before because I kind of feel alignment and insight from the book, which I didn't know that before when I read this book first time. Yeah. So wow, it's amazing. So if we are pulled into unconscious identification with the emotion through a lack of presence, which is normal, the emotion temporarily becomes yes. Often a vicious cycle builds up between your thinking and the emotion. They feed each other by dwelling mentally on the situation, event, or person that is perceived a cause of the emotion. The thought feeds energy to the emotion, which in turn energizes in a thought pattern, and so on. In fact, the harder the mind struggles to get rid of the pain, the greater the pain. The mind can never find a solution, nor can it afford to allow you to find the solution because it is itself an intrinsic part of the problem. Okay. Focus, Irene. Focus. Okay. So you need to become fully conscious of your emotions and to be able to feel them before you can feel that which lies beyond them. Emotion literally means disturbances. Love, joy, and peace are deep state of being, are rather three aspects of state of inner connectedness with the being. Many love relationships have the initial Euphoria has passed. Yeah, initially euphoria has passed. Actually oscillates between the love and hate, attraction and attack. Wow. When you love relationships and after initial euphoria has passed, actually oscillate between love and hate, attraction and attack. Real love doesn't make you suffer. Yeah, real love doesn't make you suffer. How could it? It doesn't suddenly turn into hate, nor does really joy turn into pain. As I said, even before you're enlightened, before you have freed yourself from your mind, you might get glimpses of a true joy, true love, or a deep inner peace. Still, not by friends in your life. There is aspect of your true nature which is usually obscured by the mind. Okay. Even when the sky has heavily overcast, the sun hasn't disappeared. It's just still there on the other side of the clouds. Pain is inevitable as long as you identify with your mind. Which is to say that as long as you are unconscious, spiritual speaking. Okay, remember hatred, self-pity, guilt, anger, depression, jealousy, and so on. Even the slightest irritation are all forms of pain. Seen from the higher perspective, both the negative or positive polarities are faces of the same coin. Okay. There are two levels of your pain. The pain that you created now and the pain from the past and still lives on your mind and the body. Okay. Seeking to create a pain in the present and deserving past pain. This is what I want to talk about now. Okay. Consciousness, the way out of pain. Pain, okay. The pain that you created now is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what it is. On the level of thought, the resistance is some form of judgment. On the emotional level, it is some form of negativity. The intensity of the pain depends on the degree of resistance to the present moment, and this in turn depends on how strong you identify with your mind. The mind always seeks to deny the now and to escape from it. The other words, the more you identify with your mind, the more you suffer. Or you may put it like this: the more you're able to honor and accept the now, the more you're free of pain or suffering and free of the egoic mind. Well, of course, it is now. The time is now. What else is there? It is as it is. It is as it is. Observe how the mind labels. Observe how the mind labels it, and how this labeling process. This is continuously sitting in judgment. Creates a pain and unhappiness. 맞아요. That's true. By watching the mechanics of your mind, you step out of its resistance pains, patterns, and you can then allow the present moment to be. You know what? Yeah, this is just kind of unconscious automatic pattern or habits. Like, we try to stay focused on a pain, and then we try to just training to let it go, or just just fluid, right? But that's a training actually, so that's true. By watching the mechanics of the mind, you step out of its resistance pain patterns, and you can then allow the present moment to be. This will give you a taste of a state of inner freedom from the external conditions, the state of a true inner peace. That's true. That's beautiful. Then see what happens, and take action if necessary or possible. Accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. As long as you're unable to access the power of now, this accumulated pain is a negative energy field that occupies in your body and mind. Focus it. It's the emotional body, while others are experiencing it only in certain situations such as intimate relationships or situations linked with past loss and abundant physical or emotional hurt, and so on. Okay. So the pain body doesn't want you to observe it directly and see for what it is. The moment you observe it, feel its energy field within you, and take your attention into it. The identification is broken. A higher dimension of the consciousness has come in. I call it presence. You are now the oneness or the watcher of the pain body. This means that it cannot use you anymore by pretending to be you, and it can no longer replenish itself through you. You have found your own innermost strength. You have access to the power of now. Although you are no longer energized through your identification, it has a certain momentum. Just like in a spinning wheel, the wheel keeps turning for a while, even when it is no longer being propelled. At this stage, it may also create a physical accident appears in different parts of your body, but they won't last. Stay present or stay conscious. I don't agree yet. If we just have some kind of symptoms of pain, we should cure. Yeah, it's not just gonna disappear. No, it's not. Okay. Is it ever a large guardians of your inner space? You need to be present enough to be able to watch the pain body directly and feel its energy. It then can. Oh, sorry. It then cannot control your thinking. The moment your thinking is aligned with the energy field of a pain body, you're identified with it and again feeding it with your thoughts. You become whole again. Let me summarize the process. Focus attention on feeling inside you. Now, know that it is a pain body. Accept that it is there. Don't think about it. Don't let the feeling turn into thinking. Don't judge or analyze. Don't make an identify for yourself out of it. Stay present and continue to be an observer of what is happening inside you. Become aware not only of the emotion and pain, but also of the one who observes. The silent watcher. This is the part of now, the part of your own conscious presence. Then see what happens. For many women, the pain body awakened, particularly at the time and preceding the menstrual flow. If this applies to you, observe the resistance within yourself. Observe the attachment to your pain. Be very alert. Observe the peculiar pleasure you derive from being unhappy. Observe the compulsion to talk or think about it. The resistance will disappear, making it conscious. You can then take your attention into your pain body, stay present at the witness, and initiate its transmutation. When you can do this, nobody can do it for you. I don't agree with most of this. How he can just, ignore the pain? No, I don't think so. How we can just ignore the pain? Which one can we cure? Okay. My eyes are a little bit tired. Sorry about that. one of my favorite books called The Psychology of Money. Okay, be careful who you praise and admire. Be careful who you do look down upon and wish to avoid becoming. Some people are born into families that encourage education, others are against it. Some are born into prolific economies, encouraging of entrepreneurship. Others are born into war and destitution. I want you to be successful and I want you to earn it. But realize that not all success is due to hard work, and that not all poverty is due to laziness. Keep this in mind when judging people, including yourself. Therefore, focus less on specific individuals and the case studies and more on broad patterns. Studying a specific person can be dangerous because we tend to study extreme examples. The billionaires, the CEOs, and the massive families that dominate the news, and extreme examples that are often the least applicable to other situations, given their complexity. The more extreme the outcome, the less likely you can apply its lessons to your own life. Because the more likely to outcome was influenced by the extreme ends of luck and risk. You will get closer to actionable takeaways by looking for the broad patterns of success and failure. The more common the pattern, the more applicable it might be to your life. Trying to emulate Warren Buffett's investment success is hard because his results are so extreme that the role of luck in his lifetime performance is very likely high, and the luck isn't something you are reliable to emulate. But realizing, as we see in chapter 7, that people who have a control of their time trend to be happier in life is broad and a common enough observation that you can do something with it. I feel a little bit tired. How come? I don't know. Success is a loud teacher. It seduces and smart people into thinking they can't lose. When things are going extremely well, realize it's not as good as you think. You're not invincible. And if you acknowledge that luck brought you to success, then you have to believe. You have to believe in luck's cousin, risk, which can turn your story around just as quickly. But more important is that as much as you recognize the role of luck in success, the role of risk means we should forgive ourselves and leave room for understanding when judging failures. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Now let's look at the stories of the two men who pushed their luck. Okay. The counterintuitive nature of compounding leads even the smartest of us to overlook its wealth. Okay, I want to read this one. Okay. There are a million ways to get wealthy, and plenty of books on how to do so. But there is only one way to stay wealthy, some combination of frugality and paranoia. And that's the topic we're discussing now. Okay. The highest form of wealth is an ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. People want to become wealthier to make them happier. Happiness is a complicated subject because everyone's different. But if there is a common denominator in happiness, a universal feel of joy, it is that people want to control their lives. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, as long as you want, is priceless. It is the highest dividend money pays. Having a strong sense of controlling one's life is a more dependable predictor of positive feelings of well-being than any of the objective conditions of life we have considered. More than your salary, more than your size of house, more than your prestige of your job, control over doing what you want, when you want, with the people you want to, is the broadest lifestyle value that makes people happy. Money's greatest intrinsic value, and this can't be overstated, is its ability to keep in control over your time to obtain, bit by bit, a level of independence and autonomy that comes from unspent assets that give you a greater control over what you can do and when you can do. 아이고. Okay. A smart amount of wealth means an ability to take a few days off work when you're sick without breaking the bank. Gaining that ability is huge if you don't have it. That can be life-changing. 6 months emergency expenses means not being terrified of your boss because you know you won't be ruined if you have to take some time off to find a new job. More still means the ability to take a job with a lower pay but flexible hours. Maybe one with a shorter commute, or being able to deal with a medical emergency without the added burden of worrying about how you'll pay for it. Then there's a retiring when you want to, instead of when you need to. Using your money to buy time and options is a lifestyle benefit few luxury goods and can compete with. But doing something you love on a schedule you can't control can feel the same as doing something you hate. When you accept how true that statement is, you realize and align money toward that life that lets you do what you want when you want, with who you want, where you want, for as long as you want, has incredible returns. I said no, that didn't make a big difference in my life. There was just more money in the bank. The difference didn't happen when I was 22. Part of what's happened here, I spent a week using our greater was to buy bigger and better stuff, but we've simultaneously given more control over our time. At best, those things that cancel each other out. But it feels like you're working 24/7 compared to the generations prior. Control over your time has diminished, and since controlling your time is such a key happiness influencer, we shouldn't be surprised that the people don't feel much happier than though we are on average richer than ever. It was my dream to have one of these cars of my own because I thought they sent such a strong signal to others that make it. You're smart, you're rich, you're teased, you're important. Look at me. Yes, that's in a psychology actually. Yes. We tend to judge wealth by what we see because that's the information we have in front of us. We can see people's bank accounts or brokerage statements. So we rely on our appearances to gauge financial success. Cars, homes, Instagram photos. Modern capitalism makes helping people to fake it until they make it a cherished industry. But the truth is that wealth isn't what you don't see. Wealth is in nice cars not purchased. The diamonds not bought, and the watch is not worn, the clothes is in a forgotten, and the first in a curse upgrades in a decline. Wealth is financial assets you haven't yet converted into the stuff you see. That's not how we think about wealth because you cannot contextualize in a way you can see. Investor Bill Maher once wrote, "There isn't a fast way to feel rich than to spend lots of money on really nice things. But the ways to be rich isn't to spend the money you have and to not spend the money you don't have. It's really that simple." It is excellent advice, but it may not go far enough. The only way to be wealthy is not spend the money that you have as it's not just the only way to accumulate wealth. It's the very definition of wealth. We should be careful to define the difference between a wealthy and the rich. Okay, it's the more than semantics. Not knowing the difference is a source of countless poor many decisions. Rich is the current income. Someone driving a $100,000 car is almost certainly rich because even if they purchase the car with a debt, you need a certain level of income to afford a monthly payment. Same with those who live in big homes. It's not hard to spot rich people. They often go out of their way to make themselves known, but wealth is hidden. It's income not spent. Wealth is an option, not yet taken to buy something later. If value lies in opening your options, flexibility, and the growth, then one day to purchase more stuff than you could right now. Exercise like in a big rich. You think, I did the work and I now deserve to treat myself a big meal? What is turning down than a treadmill and are actually burning that calories? It's hard and it requires self-control, but it creates a gap between what you could do and what you choose to do that accrues to you over time. That's true. The problem for many of us is that it is easy to find rich role models. It's hard to find the wealthy ones, because the definition of success is more hidden. Yeah. Right. There are, of course, wealthy people who also spend a lot of money on stuff. But even in those cases, what we see is their richness, not their wealth. We see the cars they choose to buy and the price in the school they choose to send their kids to. We don't see the savings, retirement accounts, or investment portfolios. We see the homes they buy, not the homes they could have bought. Have the stretching themselves thin. The danger here is that I think most people deep down want to be wealthy. They want freedom and flexibility, which is what financial assets not yet spent can give you. But it is so ingrained in us that too with money is spent more that we don't get to see the restraint it takes to actually be wealthy. And since we can see it, it's hard to learn about it. Imagine how hard it would be to learn how to write a few could read the works of the great authors. Who would be your inspiration? Who would you admire? Whose nonsense tricks or tips would you follow? It will make it something that is already hard even harder. It's difficult to learn from what you can see, which helps explain why it's so hard for many to build wealth. Keep this in mind when calculating judging others' success, setting your own goals. Save money. My observation is that yes, many do. Past a certain level of income, people fall into three groups: those who save, those who don't think they can save, and those who don't think they need to save. This is for letter 2. The first is simple, but it's overlooked. It's that building wealth has a little to do with your income or investment returns, and a lot to do with your saving rate. A quick study about the power of efficiency. The same isn't true with your money. Investment returns can make you rich, but whether an investment strategy will work and how long it will work for, and whether markets will cooperate is always in doubt, results are not shrouded in uncertainty. Personal savings and frugality, finances and conservation, and efficiency. If you view building wealth into something that will require more money or big investment returns, you may become a pessimistic. If you view it as a part of your frugality and efficiency, your destiny is clearer. Wealth is just an accumulating leftovers in after you spend it on what you take it. And since you can build wealth without a high income but have no chance of building wealth without a high saving rate, it's clear which can matters more. I'm better off than you are, despite being a worse investor. I'm getting more benefit from your investments despite lower returns. The same is true for income. Learning to happy with an investment increasing the gap between what you have and what you want, similar to gap you get from your growing your paycheck, but easier and more in your control. A high savings rate means that having lower expenses than you otherwise could, and having lower expenses means that your savings go further than you would if you spent more. Everyone needs the basics. Once they are covered, there's another level of comfortable basics. And past that, there is a basics that are both comfortable, entertaining, and enlightening. When you define savings and gap between your ego and your income, you realize why many people with decent incomes and save so little. It's that they struggle against the instincts to extend your pack of feathers to their utmost limits and keep up with others doing the same. People with enduring personal and financial success, not necessarily those with high incomes, tend to have propensity to not give a damn what others think about them. Savings can be created by spending less. You can spend less if you desire less. And you will desire less and if you care less about what others think of you. As I agree often in this book, money relies on more on psychology than finance. But saving does not require a goal of purchase something specific. Gaining control over your time. That flexibility and control over your time is unseen written on wealth. I say it's incalculable. Saving in a bank that earns 0% interest and might actually generate extraordinary return if they give you the flexibility to take a job with a low salary but more purpose, or a way for investment opportunities that come when those with the flexibility turn desperate. And that hidden return is becoming more important. If you have a flexibility, you can wait for good opportunities, both in your career and for your investments. You will have a better chance of being able to learn a new skill when it's necessary. You will feel less urgency to chase competitors who can do things that you can't, and have more leeway to find your passion and your niche at your own pace. And your own pace. Your niche. Find your passion and your niche at your own pace. Beautiful. You can find a new routine at slow pace. And think about life with a different set of assumptions. The ability to do those things when most others can is one of the few things that will set you apart in a world where intelligence is no longer a sustainable advantage. Having more control over your time and options is becoming one of the most valuable currencies in the world. That's why more people can and more people should when save money. You are not a spreadsheet, you're a person, a screwed up, emotional person. It took me a while to figure out this. But once it clicked, I realized it's one of the most important part of finance. Whether it comes into something that often goes overlooked, do not aim to be cordially rational when making financial decisions. Aim to just be pretty reasonable. Reasonable is more realistic, and you have the better chance of sticking with it for the long run, which is what matters most when managing money. Yeah, reasonable, not the all-time rational. Yes, I visualize my grief if the stock market went way up and I wasn't in it, or if it went way down, I was completely in it. Yes, my intention was to minimize my further my future regrets. So I split my contribution 50-50 between bonds and equities, of course. And reasonable day trading and the picking individual stocks is not rational for most investors. The odds are inherently against your success. John Brown, who advocates and mostly owns diversified funds, once explained why. He also owns a smattering of individual stocks. I'm not buying individual stocks because I think I'm going to integrate alpha outperformance. I just love stocks and have ever since I was 20 years old. And it's my money. I can do whatever. Quite reasonable. Beautiful. 진짜. Okay. Acting on investment forecast is dangerous, but I get why people try to predict what will happen next year. It's human nature. It's reasonable. Jack Bogle, a late founder of Vanguard, spending his career on a crew and promote low-cost passive index investing. Things that have never happened before happen all the time. Okay. Where's the summary at the end? They're almost there. There is never a moment when you're so right that you can bet every chip in front of you. The world is a kind of anywhere. Anyone. Oh, sorry. The world isn't that kind to anyone. Not consistently anyways. You have to give yourself room for error. You have to plan on your plan, not going according to plan. The wisdom in having room for error is acknowledging that uncertainty, randomness, and the chance, unknowns, are an even present part of life. The only way to deal with them is by increasing the gap between what you think will happen and what can happen, while still living and capable of fighting another day. Margin of safety, you can also call it room for error or redundancy, is the only effective way to safely navigate a world that is governed by odds, not certainties. And almost everything related to money exists in that kind of world. The best we can do is to think about odds. Graham's margin of safety is a simple suggestion that we don't need to view the world in front of us as black or white, predictable and crapshoot. The gray area. Pursuing things in a range of potential outcomes and acceptable is a smart way to proceed. We can't know for sure, and this speaks in probabilities. Yes, probabilities. Uncertainty, probabilities. Room for it lets you endure a range of potential outcomes, and endurance lets you stick around long enough to let the odds of benefiting from a low probability outcome fall into your favor. Bill Gates understood this well. When Microsoft was in a young company, he said he came up with this incredibly conservative approach that I wanted to have enough money to bank to pay a year's worth of payroll, even if they didn't get any payments coming in. One is volatility. Can you survive your assets decline by 30%? On a spreadsheet, maybe yes. In terms of actually paying your bills and staying cash flow positive. But what about mentally? It is easy to underestimate what a 30% decline does to your psyche. Your confidence will become shot in a very moment of opportunities at its highest. You or your spouse may decide it's time for you a new plan or a new career. I know several investors who quit after losing because they were exhausted, physically exhausted. Spreadsheets are good at telling you when the numbers do or don't add up. They are not good at monitoring how you will feel when you tuck your kids and at night wondering if the investment decisions you made were a mistake that will hurt their future. Having a gap between what you can technically endure versus what's emotionally possible isn't overlooked, wasn't a room for error. It's a reasonable first approximation to use that an estimate of what to expect on your own diverse portfolio when saving for retirement. You can use those written assumptions to back into the amount of money you will need to save each month to achieve your target net X. The answer to those what ifs is you won't be able to retire like you once predicted, which can be a disaster. Leverage is the double here. Leverage, taking a debt to making your money go further, pushes return risk into something capable of producing ruin. The danger is that rational optimism most of the time matches the odds of the ruin some of the time. The result is we systematically underestimate risk. 맞아요, that's true. Room for it is more than just widen the target round. What you think might happen? It also helps protect. It also helps to protect you from things you never imagined, which can the most troublesome events we face. Avoiding these kinds of unknown risk is almost by definition impossible. You can't prepare for what can envision. I save a lot, and I have no idea what we'll use for saving for in the future. Few finance plans that only prepare for no risk have enough margin of safety to survive the real world. But to underestimate how much the personalities, desires, and goals are likely to change in the future. We tend to never learn this lesson. Given research shows that people from age 15 to 68 underestimate how much they will change in the future. Warren Buffett becomes so successful, it's because they kept doing the same thing for decades on end, letting compounding run wild. But many of us evolve in so much of the lifetime that we don't want to keep doing the same thing for decades on end. I know young people who purposefully live austere lives with a little income, and they're perfectly happy with it. Then there are also who work in the tail of the pay for a life of luxury, and they're perfectly happy with that. Both have a risk. The former reason being unprepared to raise a family or fund retirement. The latter reason regret that you spent on the useful and the healthy years in the cubicle. Regression is especially painful when you abandon a previous plan and feel like you have to run in other direction twice as fast and make up for lost time. Compounding works best when you can give a plan years or decades to grow. This is true for not only savings but careers and relationships. Endurance is key, and when you consider our tendency to change who we are over time, balance at every point in your life becomes a strategy to avoid further regret and encourage endurance. Aiming at every point is your working life. To have a moderate annual savings and a moderate free time and no more than a moderate commute and at least a moderate time with your family increase the odds of being able to stick within a plan and avoid the regret. Then if any one of those things fall to the extreme sides of the spectrum, the trick is to accept the reality of change and move on as soon as possible. It's the equivalent of a strange making major life decisions for you, embracing the idea that financial goals may, when you're a different person, should be abandoned without the mercy versus spoon of the life support and direct honor can be good strategy to minimize future regret. The quicker it's done, the sooner you can get back to the compounding. Next, let's talk about the compounding's price of admission. Every job looks easy when you're not the one doing it. Most things are harder in practice. and they're in theory. Sometimes this is because we are overconfident. More often it's because we are not good at identifying what the price of success is, which prevents us from being able to pay it. All you have to do was sit back and let your money compound. But of course, a successful investing looks easy when you're not the one doing it. Hold the stocks for the long run, you'll hear as good advice. But do you know how hard it is to maintain long-term outlook when stocks are collapsing? Like everything else in worthwhile, successful investing demands on a price. But its currency is not dollars in a sense. It's volatility, fear, doubt, uncertainty, and regret, all of which are easy to overlook until you are dealing with them in real time. This is the price of market returns. The fee, it is the cost of admission, and it hurts. The question is, why do so many people who are willing to pay the price of cars, houses, food, and vacations try so hard to avoid paying the price of an investment return? Whew. The answer is simple. The price of investing success is not immediately obvious. Yes, 맞아요. That's correct. The answer is simple. The price of investing success is not immediately obvious. It sounds trivial, but thinking of market volatility as fee rather than fire is an important part of developing the kind of a mindset that lets you stick around long enough for the investing gains to work in your favor. Market returns are never free and never will be. They demand you pay a price like any other product. You are not forced to pay this fee. Same with markets. The volatility or uncertainty fee. The price of returns is the cost of admission to get returns in greater than low fee parts like cash and bonds. The trick isn't convincing yourself that this market fee is worth it. That's the only way to properly deal with the volatility and uncertainty, not just putting up with, but realizing that it's an admission fee worth paying. It's hard to overstate how social devastating financial bubbles can be. They ruin lives. Why do these things happen, and why do they keep happening? Why can't we learn our lessons? The common answer here is that people are greedy, and the greed is an incredible feature of human nature. That may be true, and it's good enough answer for most. But remember from chapter 1, no one is crazy. People make financial decisions they regret, and they often to do with scarce information and without logic. But the decision made sense then when they were made. Blaming bubbles on greed and stopping their misses important lessons about how and why people rationalize what is hindsight look like in great decisions. When investors have different goals and time horizons, and they do in every asset class, prices that look ridiculous to one person can make sense to another, because the factors those investors pay attention to are different. Momentum attracts certain traders in a reasonable way. The process feeds on itself as the traders push up short-term returns. They'll attract even more traders, people along, and it often doesn't take long. The dominant market prices settles within the most authority are those within a shorter time horizon. Investors, particularly the ones in setting prices, were not thinking about the next 20 years. What do you expect people to do when momentum creates a big short-term return potential? Sit and watch it patiently. Never. That's not how the world works. It's hard to grasp that other investors have different goals than we do. Because an anchor of psychology is not realizing that rational people can see the world through a different lens that you're on. Rising prices and persuade all investors in ways the best markets envy. They're a drug that can turn value-conscious investors into dewy-eyed optimists, detached from their own reality by the action of someone playing a different game than they are. The main thing I can recommend is going out of your own way to identify what game you are playing. How I invest my own money is detailed in chapter 20, but years ago I wrote out, I'm a passive investor optimistic in the world's ability to generate real economic growth, and I'm confident that over the next 30 years growth will accrue to my investments. This might seem quaint, but once you write the mission statement down, you realize everything that's unrelated to it. What the market did this year, or whatever will happen in the recession next year, is part of the game I'm not playing. So I don't pay attention to it, and I'm no danger of being persuaded by it. Real optimists don't believe that everyone will be great. That's not complacency. Optimism is belief that odds of a good outcome are your favor over time, even when there will be setbacks along the way. The simple idea that most people wake up in the morning try to make things a little better and more productive than wake up and looking to cause trouble is a foundation of optimism. It's not complicated, it's not guaranteed either. It's not just the most reasonable bet for most people most of the time. The late statistician Hans Rosen put it differently. I'm not an optimist. I'm a very serious possibilitist. 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 That's a rather good expression. Okay. It's time to tie together a few things we've learned. This chapter is a bit of a summary of a short and actionable lessons that can help you make better financial decisions. Because it's never as good or as bad as it looks. The world is big and complex. Luck and risk are both real and hard to identify. Do so when judging both yourself and others. Respect the power of luck and risk, and you have a better chance of focusing on things you can actually control. You'll also have a better chance of finding the right role models. Less ego, more wealth. Saving money is the gap between your ego and your income, and the wealth is what you don't see. So, what is created by surprising what you could buy today in order to have more stuff or more options in the future? That's different from saying you should aim to earn the highest returns or a specific percentage of your income. Some people won't sleep well unless they're earning the highest returns, others will only get a good rest if they're conservatively invested. To each their own, but the foundation of does this and how me sleep at night is the best universal guide post for all financial decisions. If you want to do better as an investor, the single most powerful thing you can do is increase your time horizon. Time is the most powerful force in investing. It makes a little things grow big and big mistakes and fade away. It can to neutralize the luck and risk, but it pushes results and close towards what people deserve. Become okay with a lot of things that are going wrong. You can be wrong half the time and still make the fortune. Use money to gain control over your time, because not having control over your time is such powerful and a universal drag on happiness. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, as long as you want to, pays the highest dividend that exists in finance. No one is impressing your possession as much as you are. You might think you want a fancy car or a nice watch, But what you probably want is respect and admiration. But saving for things that are impossible to predict or define is one of the best reasons to save. Everyone's life is in a continuous chain of surprises. Saving that aren't earmarked for anything in particular as in a hatch against the life inevitability to surprise the hell out of you at the worst possible moment. Because nothing worthwhile is free, and remember that most financial costs don't have an invisible price tags. Uncertainty, doubt, and regret are common costs in the finance world. They're often worth paying, but you have to view them as fees, a price worth paying to get something else in exchange, rather than fines a penalty you should avoid. Where's the room for error? A gap between what could happen in the future and what you need to happen in the future in order to do well is what gives you endurance. And endurance is what makes it compound magic over time. Room for error often look like a conservative hedge, but if it keeps you in the game, it can pay for itself many times over. Avoid extreme uncertain financial decisions. Everyone's goal and desires will change over time. And the more extreme your past decisions were, then the more you may regret them as you evolve. Define a game you play and make sure your actions are not being influenced by people playing a different game. Respect the mass. Smart, informed, reasonable people can disagree in finance because the people have vastly different goals and desires. There is no single right answer, just the answer that works for you. Now, let me tell you what works for me. Just show me what you do with your own money. The difference between what someone suggests you do and what they do for themselves isn't always a bad thing. It just underscores that when dealing with complicated and emotional issues that affect you and your family, there is no right answer. There is no one right answer. There is no one right answer. There is no universal truth. There is only what works for you and your family. Checking the boxes you want checked in a way that leaves you comfortable and sleeping well at night. You can live a side bridge, but independence has always been my personal financial goal. Chasing the highest returns or leveraging my assets to live the most luxurious life has little interest to me. We are so far committed to the independence camp that we've done things that make a little sense on paper. We own our house without a mortgage, which is the worst financial decision we've ever made, but the best money decisions we ever made. Mortgage interest rates were absurdly low when we bought our house. Any rational advisor would recommend taking advantage of cheap money and investing as your savings in high return assets like stocks. But our goal isn't to be coldly rational, just psychologically reasonable. Psychologically reasonable, okay? Coldly rational. Coldly rational versus psychologically reasonable. Eliminating the monthly payment fails in order to maximize the long-term value of our assets. It makes me feel independent. I don't try to depend decisions to those pointing out its flaws or those who would never do the same. On paper, it's defenseless, but it works for us. We like it. That's what matters. Good decisions aren't always rational. At some point, you have to choose between being happy or being right. We do it because it catches oxygen of independence. And more importantly, we never want to be forced to sell stocks we own. We want the probability of facing a huge expense and needing to liquidate stocks to cover it to being as close to nature as possible. Perhaps we just have a lower risk tolerance than others. But everything we've learned about personal finance tells me that everyone, without exception, will eventually face huge expenses they did not expect. And that they don't plan for these expenses specifically because they did not expect them. The few people who know the details of their own finance ask, what is it you're saving for? A house? A boat? A new car? No, none of those. I'm saving for in a world where cover balls are more common than we expect. Nothing forcing to sell stocks and covering expense also means that we are increasing the odds of letting the stocks be on compounding for the longest period of time. The first rule of compounding is never interrupt it unnecessarily. We invested money from every paycheck into these index funds, a combination of US and international stocks. There is no set goal. It's just whatever is left over after you spend. We max our retirement accounts in the same funds and contribute to our kids in 529 college saving plans. And that's about it. Effectively, all our net wealth is our house and a checking account and some Vanguard index fund. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that for us. I like it simple. One of my deeply held investing belief is there is a little correlation between investment effort and investment results. The reason is because the world is driven by tails. A few valuables account for a majority of returns. Okay, no matter how hard you try investing, you won't do well if you're missing two or three things that move a needle in your strategy. The reverse is true. Simple investment strategies can work great as long as they capture the few things that are important that strategy success. My investing strategy doesn't rely on picking the right sector or timing the next recession. It relies on a high saving rate, patience, and optimism that global economy will create a value over the next several decades. I spend virtually all of my investing effort thinking about those three things, especially the first two, which I can't control. I've changed my investment strategy in the past, so of course there is a chance I'll change it in the future. No matter how we save or invest, and I'm sure we'll always have the goal of independence. Yeah, and I will always do whatever maximizes and for sleeping well at night. We think it's the ultimate goal, a mastery of psychology of money. But to each their own, no one is crazy, okay? The most important part is that it relies on high saving rate, patience, and optimism that global economy will create a value over the next several decades. I spend virtually all of my investing effort thinking about those three things, especially the first two, which I can control. That is in a high saving rate and a patient, which means they target the compounding power. That's true.